Are you struggling to stay productive at work? You'll find out how to stay focused in this episode of The Stress Less Show. Hi, I'm Carly Myers, a stress management expert. One thing I hear day in and day out is that we feel like we've tried everything when it comes to stress management. We may have tried the mainstream approaches to managing our stress, but have we really tried to get to the root of the issue? Each episode, I bring on experts and leaders to not just put a band-aid on your stress, but to actually get to that root. This month, we're focusing on one of the top stress triggers in the United States, and that's job security and job pressure. So specifically, I brought on a guest, Emily Cassell, to talk about productivity and success at work. Welcome, Emily.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So Emily is a leadership and business coach for ambitious and high achieving women entrepreneurs across the globe. Doesn't sound anything like me. So through private and group coaching, a high level mastermind, and gorgeous retreats, Emily helps women leaders to shift out of hustle mode and into a state of freedom, flow, and fulfillment so that they can launch, scale, and grow the soul-led businesses that make a powerful impact and profitable income. Emily is also the host of the podcast Sexy Soulful Success, where she facilitates visionary conversations with women, entrepreneurs, and leaders that redefine success and womanhood for modern day change making women. You can learn more at emilycassell.com. But Emily, I'm really curious. I mean, this conversation isn't happening a lot about this hustle versus soul driven and how do we realistically do it. I'm curious, how did you get into this line of work?
I got into this line of work because I was always a super ambitious, high achieving woman myself. And I always had an eye and a heart for entrepreneurship. And I really wanted to support women entrepreneurs on their journey because I felt like there was so much that in the journey of entrepreneurship, a lot of what we hear is more strategic business wisdom, but actually I find that as much as we think we're growing a business, the business is also growing us, and that entrepreneurship is very much a personal development and self-discovery journey. And I was really curious about positive psychology, and I had gone to an all-women's college. And so sisterhood was something that was really on my radar. And I was just really curious all the time about spirituality and also psychology and how those two things interwove together. And then also a really holistic approach to business. So these were all sort of like spinning in my mind and coming together and merging in different ways. I always personally felt like I had to be doing more, and that if I wasn't doing more, I wasn't good enough. And I think that that's something that most of the women I speak to on a daily basis go through again and again and again. And it's sort of a cycle that I'm on a mission to break for women because it's something that can cause so much stress and so much just feeling like we are stuck in the hamster wheel of our life, right? In the hustle of things instead of really making progress forward.
It feels to me like just being, and I do a lot of networking, especially in women's networking groups and organizations. It feels to me like it's actually an epidemic that our self-worth is really tied very much to our productivity, our accomplishments. So I think this is one of the main reasons why I wanted to have you on the show, because something needs to change. I think, especially from a stress management perspective, if we tie our self-worth with our work, we're never going to stop and we're going to burn ourselves out.
Right.
So what do you recommend for the type A woman achiever, the hustler who's trying to step out of this cycle, but not trying to lose income or lose the productivity that they're looking for?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think the first thing is for women specifically, since that's who I work with, I'll speak directly to that today. The thing that's been most revolutionary for me personally in my life and in my business, and then also for all the women that I support, this is like an aha moment for them when they realize that this is a tool that they've had for forever that's integrated into their body every single day, every single moment. And it can sort of act as a guide, which is to start tracking your menstrual cycle, because there are so many clues and so many pieces of that you can leverage for optimal productivity in business, life, work. And when we work with that natural rhythm and flow, with it instead of against it, we can accomplish so much more. And it doesn't feel like an uphill battle anymore. It actually feels really effortless to do the things that we're primed to do at a certain time of the month, hormonally, physically, mentally, emotionally. It just, when we plan and when we schedule ourselves on a monthly basis and a 28-day cycle instead of a 24-hour cycle, we're then working with our hormones and with our natural cycles instead of against them, which I think is just so cool and so awesome. And there's so much more that I can share about that, but I know we're trying to keep it keep it on a timeline today. So someone really great to check out if you're interested in learning more about that is Alisa Vitti, who wrote the book Woman Code and has a new book coming out soon. And I also have a free gift that includes those 4 phases of your cycle and how to plan in your business around them. So
that was going to be my next question. So you can check out emilycassell.com. We'll share the link to get to that free gift, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
perfect. Okay. So what else do you recommend?
I also think comparison is such, they say comparison is the thief of joy. And I think in this case, it's definitely a thief of productivity and success, because when we're constantly comparing ourselves to everyone else on social media, which is so easy to do now, we start to second guess ourselves and we start to feel like, wait, should I want this thing or should I be pursuing that thing? Or, oh my gosh, I'm not there yet. Or I should be at this point in my journey, but I'm not. And so now I feel bad about myself, instead of just staying in our own lane and focusing on what makes us feel truly joyful and what matters most to us. And then being in hot pursuit of that instead of everyone else's goals and objectives that we're constantly seeing bombarding our social media feeds. So I think that's really important as well.
I get this image of someone like the runner, right? Like if you're focused on your own finish line, your own like personal record, you're in flow. But if you're turning your head, you're literally fighting yourself to get to the finish line. And I think that sounds like what comparison is actually doing in our day to day.
Yeah, that's such a beautiful metaphor. That's perfect. Exactly that. We can siphon off so much energy when we're giving it away to everybody else instead of just staying focused and clear on what matters most to us and then pursuing that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So when we're talking about success and goals of like with this new lens on, what else do you recommend in terms of that mental shift?
Well, I think we definitely really need to reset our metrics for success and really look at what are we using to measure. For example, if you run a business or even if you're working in a career of some kind, traditionally the success is based on, how much money you're making at the end of the day is what we tend to go to, or what we tend to think of in our culture as being successful, when really that's only one of the ways in which we measure success. The other ways might look like, how many times do I smile each day? Or how joyful do I feel? Or how great are my weekends? Am I moving my body? Am I nourishing myself? Do I have amazing quality of friendships? Do I get more vacation days? Do I have location freedom? All of those things, are also such important ways that we can measure our success, but we tend to get stuck on only one or two. And so I recommend not to lower your standards or lower your metrics for success, but maybe just to change your perspective and your perception of them and make them more realistic, to set yourself up to win and really manage those expectations of what's possible in a given amount of time, and being grateful for what is going really well and what parts of your life you are feeling really successful and productive in, even if other areas don't feel that way as much.
Yeah. It reminds me of an event I went to where the speaker was talking about, he was like, how many of you want to be millionaires? And everyone raised their hand. And then he asked then later, was like, how many of you would just be okay if you had time freedom and could do whatever you wanted, whenever you wanted? And everyone's like, and then he basically scolded everyone. He's like, you don't actually care about being a millionaire. This is what you care about.
Yeah.
And that was a huge mindset shift for a lot of the folks in the room. So for the women that are listening who feel like, okay, I want to have more balance between my spiritual life, my soulful life, and my business and productivity and all of this, where can we find you on social?
Yeah, you can definitely find me on Instagram. That's where I prefer to hang out and where I am most often. So you can send me a DM and get in touch with me. Let me know that you listened to this episode. Um, and you can do that at my handle is at Emily Castle Official.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So this concludes this episode of the Stress Less Show. Thank you so much, Emily, for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's been so fun to chat with you.
Absolutely. So we'll see you guys next week on the next episode of the Stress Less Show. Take care.